All right, so get ready to maybe stand on your head for this one because we are diving into the Bhagavad-gītā, chapter 15, and specifically your excerpt on Purushottam Yoga, the yoga of the Supreme.
Right.
It's a lot to take in,
Yes.
but luckily the Gita gives us a pretty good visual to work with. We've got a giant upside-down tree.
And not just any tree. We're talking about a banyan tree,
Right.
which is, impressive on its own.
Yeah.
But the Gita takes it a step further and plants its roots in the heavens and lets its branches spread downwards into the material world.
Okay, so it's like the world's most confusing yoga pose, I think.
Yeah.
But there's a method to this upside-down madness, right?
Absolutely. This image is our key to understanding Maya, the illusion that prevents us from seeing reality clearly.
Okay.
It's like when you're scrolling through social media and suddenly, hours have gone by.
Oh, yeah.
You get so caught up in that feed, it becomes your whole world. Even if it's just this tiny, curated sliver of reality.
Yeah, it's like we're so busy looking at the leaves, we miss the whole tree.
Exactly.
And speaking of leaves, the Gita actually goes into detail about what each part of this metaphorical tree represents.
Yeah.
So the leaves are Vedic hymns, the branches are levels of existence, and the roots, well, those are our desires.
Right.
But I think here's the real kicker. This whole tree is a reflection.
Precisely. It's like a tree reflected in a lake.
Okay.
The text is telling us that this material world, this impressive banyan tree, it only exists because we desire it to.
Okay.
Our cravings, our attachments, they literally shape this reflection.
So you're saying my desire for that extra large coffee this morning is contributing to the cosmic banyan tree?
In a way.
That's a lot of pressure on a caffeine addiction.
Sure.
But okay, so let's say we're trapped in this reflection. How do we even begin to escape?
Right.
The Gita talks about using the weapon of detachment, which honestly sounds a bit intense for my Tuesday morning.
It does have a dramatic ring to it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But detachment in this context isn't about renouncing all your worldly possessions and becoming a hermit.
Okay.
It's more about shifting your perspective.
So less about ditching my smartphone and more about ditching my need to refresh my inbox every 5 seconds.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that real fulfillment comes from something deeper than chasing after the next dopamine hit of a notification.
Okay.
This metaphorical tree, we need to stop clinging to its branches and look for the source of the reflection itself.
The source. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're ditching the attachment. We're searching for the source. Where does that lead us? The excerpt also talks about these two types of beings, the fallible and the infallible, and that seems like it's connected to all this.
You're right. It's all part of the same journey. Think of these two types of beings as existing on different levels of understanding within this banyan tree. The fallible, known as the Krishara, are those who are still entangled in that cycle of birth and death. Clinging on to those branches, so to speak.
Stuck in that cycle of hitting refresh on the same 3 apps for an hour, hoping for a different result.
Exactly.
Back in there.
And the Gita is telling us this isn't just a modern day problem, right?
Right.
The Kshara are bound by their material desires.
Okay.
Those roots that have them reaching downwards, always searching for that fulfillment in fleeting pleasures.
Always reach. Okay.
Yeah.
So what about the infallible, the akshara?
Right.
They've figured out how to use that weapon of detachment.
Exactly. They've reached a level of understanding that allows them to see beyond the illusion,
Okay.
to detach themselves from those desires that keep the Kshara bound to the cycle. Imagine finally looking up from that reflection and seeing the real banyan tree in all its glory.
So that's the goal, to be unshakable like that?
It's a pretty lofty goal. It's a fascinating concept that's explored in various spiritual traditions. But here's where the Bhagavad-gītā throws in another twist. It introduces us to the Uttama Purusha, the Supreme Soul.
Wait, so there's something even beyond the infallible?
Right.
It's like finding a secret level in a video game.
In a way, yes.
Okay.
Remember that source we were talking about, the one that's reflected in the lake?
Right, yeah.
The Uttama Purusha is that source.
Okay.
It's the ultimate reality, the ground of all being, even beyond those heavenly roots of our upside-down banyan tree.
So I've got the Kshara all tangled up in the branches.
Right.
We've got the Akshara seeing beyond the reflection.
Yeah.
And then we've got this Uttama Purusha existing beyond the entire tree altogether.
Yes, like the
Yes.
cosmic CEO of banyan trees or something.
I like that.
But if even the enlightened folks are still looking up at this Uttama Purusha,
Right.
how do we even begin to wrap our heads around this whole supreme soul idea?
It's a question that's fascinated philosophers and spiritual seekers for centuries.
Yeah.
And the Bhagavad-gītā suggests that it's not just about intellectual understanding.
Okay.
It's about something much deeper, something that resonates on like a soul level, like that aha moment when you finally understand something, not just in your head, but like in your gut.
Precisely. And just like with that difficult yoga pose, it takes effort and practice and maybe a good teacher to help us find our balance.
Right.
We have our roadmap in the Gita.
Okay.
It's about recognizing that this supreme soul isn't just some distant deity.
Yeah.
But the very source of our being.
Okay, so coming back to our upside down tree one last time.
Yeah.
If the Uttama Purusha is the source of everything,
right,
that means even the Kshara, the ones tangled in the leaves, are still connected to it.
That's the beauty of this whole concept.
Okay.
It's like the sun.
Okay.
You know, the Kshara might be caught in the shadows focused on those branches, but that sunlight still touches them.
Okay.
The potential for liberation, for realizing that connection, it's always there.
So it's almost like the Gita is saying, hey, we get it. Life can feel like being stuck in this confusing upside-down tree.
Yeah.
But guess what? You're part of something way bigger and more magnificent than you can imagine.
Exactly. And that realization, that shift in perspective, can be truly transformative.
Right.
The Bhagavad-gītā, it's not about offering us blind faith or easy answers. It's about empowering us to ask the right questions.
Yeah.
And to find our own path towards liberation.
So where does this all leave us then? What's the one thing you want our listener to take away from this deep dive into chapter 15?
That this material world, with all of its desires and distractions, can feel incredibly real.
Right.
But the Gita reminds us that it's just one layer of reality.
Okay.
And by cultivating detachment, by questioning our perceptions, by looking beyond those reflections, we open ourselves up to experiencing a far greater truth.
It's a lot to ponder, that's for sure.
It is.
I think this calls for a second cup of coffee and maybe a meditation app or two.
Sounds like a plan.
Thanks for taking us on this journey through the Bhagavad-gītā.
It is my pleasure.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions. And remember, even when life feels upside down, you're connected to something truly extraordinary.
I love that.